Today's episode has a dual purpose. First off, I want to introduce you to one of my very favorite clients, and you can see how we've been working together one-on-one on her business and her online course and coaching. And then also, I want to tell you a little bit about how she helps people who are trying to get away from alcohol and be free from alcohol. So in case there's anyone you know who might be interested in that, this is a great way to hear about how she can help in a whole new way. So I hope you like this episode. Let me know what you think, and let's get to it.
Welcome to the Course Creators HQ podcast, helping you navigate the latest techniques for creating and marketing online courses. And now, here's your host, Julie Hood.
So this is going to be so much fun today. I am excited to introduce you to Ruby Williams. She's a certified master coach, and she helps people get free from alcohol. And she's just such a bright and lovely person. As I've mentioned before, I attract the most incredible people. So we've been working together now for a while. I think we started... she got into my Kajabi Kickstart course, and then lately we've been doing some one-on-one coaching, and it's more inexpensive than you might think to do, because I want to make sure that she could get her launch together. We put together an entire launch plan for the past few months, and then we've been working on it together each week. And, finishing things up, seeing where things are at, testing, working in Kajabi. So it's been super, super fun to see all of her stuff come together in the way that I know it can for so many of you. So in addition to her freebies, she's got an offer that she's doing right now for Dry January. Plus, she does one-on-one coaching. So she's gotten to this place where she's got this great suite of offers for you and for her students. So anyway, let's get into it because the interview is so much fun. And be sure to check the links if you want to find out more. Check out her site. If you know anyone that maybe could try out and experiment with a Dry January, definitely send them this way and send them to her site so that they can jump in with Ruby. So enjoy. I hope you love this episode, and let me know what you think. Hey, everybody. I am so excited to do this episode with you today for a couple different reasons. One, it could be healthy for you and members of your family or your friends. And then also because we get to talk about how I've gotten to work with one of my very favorite clients on the planet. So I want to introduce you to Ruby Williams, a Freedom Renegade Coaching. She's an incredible coach, and in particular helps people get free from alcohol. So welcome, Ruby. I know we have so much to talk about. I'm so glad you could be here today. So thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me, Julie. And I just have loved working with you and excited to share my business and message. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to kind of break this, I think, into two different sections, although we're just going to chat. But I want to start with talking about how Ruby helps people, because she has such a great way of connecting and improving their lives. So let's dig in a little bit on that, Ruby, as far as tell everyone who you help and how you help them, and then I'll give my impressions, because I was so excited when we first met and I was like, oh, you have an alternative to AA.
Yeah, so, that's what I was going to start with.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, a little bit about me. I'll just do a little background too. I worked in the wine industry for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And wine just kind of snuck up, and you start having a glass after work to relieve stress, and maybe then you drink another glass over dinner, and over time I just realized I was drinking more and more, and it was becoming a problem. But I felt so much shame, and I felt like so alone. And I didn't know there's these I thought there was only AA, but there's different communities out there. So I read a book called This Naked Mind and got free from alcohol and then became a coach. And now I'm a senior coach. So I have such a passion to help people. I don't want anybody to suffer like I did. And the first thing I want to say is you're not alone. The second thing, it's not your fault. I just want to say that because a lot of people think it's their fault if they're drinking too much. Actually, it's just normal brains working like normal, and anybody, it's like instead of like you're either a normal drinker or alcoholic, we now know it's called alcohol use disorder, and it's a range, it's a spectrum.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So.
And then you said something I want to make sure everyone catches, and that's that it was a gradual process for you. It wasn't like all of a sudden one day you're fine and the next day you're drinking way too much. It was just this kind of gradual increase, which I think is a little scary for some of us to think that something like that could happen.
Yeah, a question you might want to ask yourself is like, am I drinking more than I was last year or 5 years ago? You can just see that maybe the trend, it just keeps going up. Unfortunately, it's crazy. And I worked in, like I said, worked in the wine industry. So I had a hard time figuring out, how do I stop drinking? So if you're in that place, you're not, like I said, you're not alone. So.
Well, and I noticed one of the things when you and I were working on a specific project, we were looking for images of people having fun together and trying to find images without wine in them or alcohol. We had a terrible time.
I know. I think we put in a dinner party. I think that was it in the search. And literally I think we found one that didn't have a glass of wine or beer in it. So it's definitely the normal for people to think you need alcohol for a holiday or a dinner party. But I'm here to tell you, and we'll talk about it a little more, but life alcohol-free is wonderful. So
tell us what's different for you as alcohol-free.
Well, it felt like when I was drinking in that drinking cycle, because it became every day. It was like, beating myself up every day. It felt very much like I wasn't sleeping. I had hangovers or brain fog. I felt very stressed, and all of that's different. Like I sleep really well. I was like puffy. I lost like 80 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
My hair was thinning and now it's thicker. Let's see. I just have a lot more self-confidence. I changed careers. My relationships improved. I'm proud of myself. I trust myself. Like a lot of that kind of self-confidence and self-care went away when you're drinking. So I'm just so much happier. I feel true joy, belly laughs. I don't know. It sounds maybe like maybe it's not real, but this is real.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things I love about you is you talk about how much you love working with your clients and coaching and helping them. And I think it. Yes. So, if somebody's thinking, I don't know where to start, if they know maybe they could be headed in the wrong direction, how do they get started with you? How do they work with you?
Such a good question. Well, I have what's called a Superpower guide. It's just like a little free guide that we'll post I'm sure in the show notes or something here. But the next thing I would love for you guys to try, if you just get curious and perhaps try a dry January. You might not have heard of it. It's a movement that in January, people just abstain from drinking alcohol, and you can have a lot more fun and success with it if you do it with a program or with me, like a coach. And I'm going to do a 30-day, I call it my dry January 30-day challenge to be alcohol free. So I have lots of tips and tricks and mindset shifts you can make. And I'd love to see you there. That would be a first step. Yeah.
And we have been working on this a lot, so I know a little bit about it. And number one, I love challenges because I think it's a great way for you to connect with your students and really get to coach them and help them. And I love this concept. I hadn't heard of it before you told me about it either, of, hey, let's try after all of the holiday season, let's try going alcohol free for a month and see how it goes. So, and you said you want to tell us a little bit about when you did that,
Yes. So I did my first kind of challenge or experiment. You can call it that because you're just getting really curious. Like, can I go 30 days alcohol free? Like maybe you've never even tried. And the first time I did it, I was not able to go all 30 days alcohol free, but I got about 14 days in a row. So when I had my first experiment or tried to go alcohol free for 30 days, it was January of 2019 and I gave it a shot, but I didn't make all 30 days. I got about 2 weeks alcohol free and I didn't see it as a failure though. I just was so excited because I knew I felt better. I knew that I was sleeping better. I knew that I felt healthier. I was starting to even lose a little weight and make better decisions, just everything, more clarity in the morning. I hate that brain fog. So it's great if you can do all 30 days, but it's also great to just give it a try and see where it's easy or where it's hard. And I can help you kind of maneuver all through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love that it's just an experiment. You're not committing to forever, that you're just going to go cold turkey. When we
Right.
first started talking about that, I thought this sounds like an interesting alternative because, some people, I think that cold turkey approach works. Some people, I think that's really tough.
Yeah. So my methodology that I use is not just stop cold turkey necessarily. It's a lot of observation and mindfulness, as well as curiosity, awareness. You want to, I think the new way for habit change is you want to learn, give yourself a lot of self-compassion, as well as not just go cold turkey like you're saying, because then you haven't really changed your mindset. I want to work with you, change your mindset, have different feelings and thoughts around alcohol. And then a lot of times I'll pick a date with a client. Then we say have one day, or we choose 30 days. It's really up to them. The client, you lead. But this dry January is just kind of an experiment. It's just really fun to give it a try, see what happens.
Yeah. And we've been working on the whole launch plan and stuff. So we'll get into that in a minute. But one more question before we shift there. I want to ask you kind of a tough question, if you don't mind. We may have a listener who is a family member or maybe a friend of someone who they know drinks too much and has too much alcohol. What would you recommend? Is there anything that they could do that could be helpful without being overly pushy, or do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, you mentioned overly pushy. Yeah, a lot of times people know they're probably drinking too much in their own head, but they feel alone and maybe they're not ready yet. So I do agree with not preaching or being overly bearing on that, because people need to make the change when they're ready to make the change. But what you could suggest is I have a really awesome YouTube channel that I've got hundreds of videos there, and it's all about relating. I can just relate to this person if they're in that place. And that all starts with not feeling alone.
Right.
And then showing the similarities, offering hope, giving some tools and tactics. Also, the 30-day challenge, dry January is a great time to maybe bring it up to a friend or relative. And I think it would be awesome if you did it together. Like if you word it let's do this together. Let's do this dry January with Coach Ruby together. And we'll, text each other every day and we'll have each other's back. And it could be really fun. And use it as an experiment. Test it out. Dip your toe in the water. See if you can, I don't know, maybe you get one day alcohol free. Maybe you get all 30 days alcohol free. But either way, it can be really fun too. I love this. I love a challenge, like you said.
Yeah. And what's great about that is that's really good for anyone, even if they aren't too far on, even if they're not over drinking.
Oh my gosh, Julie, this is such a good point, because why wait until a rock bottom, or why wait until something happens? I
Right.
never had like a DUI. I didn't lose my job. Nothing happened, but I knew that I was just drinking too much and I wasn't feeling good. And you can just ask yourself, am I feeling good? Like if you're not feeling good, even if it's one drink a week, you could still decide that's one drink too many, if you're not feeling good with it.
And
So,
a good way to lose weight. You were talking about, we all kind of hit that January, let's
yeah.
be healthier. So I love your idea of doing it with a friend. I think that's really smart.
Yeah,
So
it really
awesome.
helps to you can have each other. I mean, I forgot to mention when I did my first experiment, I did it with my cousin. We would text each other. We'd meet for coffee once a week. We'd text each other every day and just check in, and it was really fun. But doing it with someone, with a coach, is even better because I've got so many tools and like ideas and tactics and just ways to help maneuver. And I have the answers to maybe those questions that you might be having that whole January. And then my goal is to go right into another program. If you want to keep working with me, I do one-on-one coaching, private coaching. That's where I have a lot of private coaches. I do group coaching. So there's a lot of options after dry January to still work with me. Yeah.
What I love about that is when you hit that point where you've got this question or you're at this place and you don't know what to do, you're going to be there. And especially for January, because you're doing all the coaching with it. So it's going to be so good. I can't
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah. I hope to have a guest coach or two so you can meet some other people too. And it'll just be a lot of fun. There's a lot of science. The actual science behind addiction, what happens in the brain, that alcohol, what it really does to the body. Like these things were important to me. And I think a lot of times we're only getting information from like the alcohol industry side, which is marketing how fun it is, how, that you need it for social occasions, etc. But the reality is that it's harmful and it can become addictive to anyone, really anyone. A lot of times when you start giving alcohol a job to do, or it's solving a problem, or you using it as a coping tool, then that's when you might tip that scale. And all of a sudden you like need it. So
That's a really good point. And I want to tell everybody too to make sure, and I'll put this link in the show notes, but your YouTube channel is out there and you talk about a lot of these things too,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
So great. Okay.
Yeah. It's called Ruby Williams Coaching.
Perfect. And one of the things that I love that you've been doing from the business side of things is you knew that video was kind of fun for you and you have the videos that you've been doing. So that's what you send out in your weekly email newsletter. And I love how you do that.
Yeah.
So if folks want to jump on that, they can get the Superpower Guide for free and then they'll get your videos each week. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I do it's like my newsletter weekly. I have a little short video every week and you'll learn or get inspired, or I give a lot of hope. I think my superpower is also just being kind of like a cheerleader and accountability buddy and very hopeful. Like you can do this. I've done it and so can you. And I just can also really good at motivating people. And yeah, I would love to work with you.
Awesome.
If you're listening.
Awesome. So we've got so much stuff we're giving out for you. So make sure you go grab it from the show notes, the YouTube link to go check out her videos, the Superpower Guide, so that you get that. And then Dry January is her paid program coming up in January. So we've been working together and I meant to go look and see how long. It's been a while now, but it's particularly lately, we've been focusing on launching and getting to work with you. And I just love it because I attract such amazing people. I'm so glad I met you. I think, did we meet from Clubhouse? Is that where?
We met from Clubhouse.
Way back in the day when it was still
I don't do
good.
Clubhouse anymore, but
I know, I don't either, but it was really good there for a while.
Yeah.
And then, so we've been putting together your launch plan. And how would you say it's going? I know what I think, but I'd love to hear what you think about how that's been.
Love working with you, Julie. And I think I started with your Kickstart and I learned because I didn't know a lot about Kajabi. I had Kajabi because a friend of mine used Kajabi and I liked the program. but you taught me so much about how to set up a sales page. And I did a mini course with you, and
Yeah.
I've sold that. And now we're working on a larger, it's a 30-day product. It's called the product in Kajabi, and it's a whole course. 30 days. That's a lot. We've been working on all the back end stuff too, the sales page, the offer page, and just making sure all the little links are working right. And so you've given me all kinds of ideas and made it really easy for me to follow along and do all the right things.
Well, and what I love about getting to work with you is we put that plan together and then you are cranking through it. So every time we get on a call together, you're like, guess what? I got done. So the goal was to have it detailed enough so that you could do that, so that you didn't have to spend a lot of time thinking about, oh, what do I do next? What else do I need? I wanted to have the layout for you. So all you had to do was go, okay, today go work on the sales page.
Yep.
Tomorrow go fix Kajabi so that we've got it displayed on your homepage and that kind of thing. So
yeah. And when we kind of had a contingency plan because I just found out I have to move, over the holidays. And so now we're like, where can we cut? Where do you ask me the really good questions? Do you really need to do this, so that I can still launch my program? Yeah, it's so good. I love it.
Well, and that was kind of a fun thing of your project. Since we're doing dry January, it is really a fixed date of January 1. We have to, we need to launch for that.
So we're launching. No, I'm so like almost everything's done. I mean, I feel like a lot's done already.
Yes.
And I'm just so excited to launch this. And I'm going to have, the next thing we have to work on is when I'm going to do the live coaching and the live Q&As and just kind of how that's going to be, scheduled out. So so we're just moving through the checklist.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I'm excited that you're on Kajabi with for a couple reasons. One, they have this new coaching feature that you can set up, and they've updated it recently. So now for your group, we're going to set up these coaching sessions that'll be live, kind of like being on Zoom, and then they're going to automatically upload for you. So anybody who's done any of these kinds of coaching things where you're dealing with recording and then you got to download it and then you got to upload it to your system and then you got to tell everybody, like, yours are going to be automatic.
Yay. And I'm excited to try the go live feature too, which I haven't done yet, but I've gone live in so many different platforms that I'm sure it's going to be a piece of cake, but I'm just excited to give this a try. Yeah.
That's going to be fun. And then if anybody else is thinking about their launch and kind of what some of the things we were thinking about, we worked on the sales page, we worked on the scheduling of things, and then we spent a lot of time too working on emails. Right. So figuring out, like, when are we going to promote this? What are you going to say? We're working on getting all of those ready too.
And the emails to go out every day. Since this is a 30-day program, there's something every day. And I'd love to ping people and make sure they get on every day and check what's going on. And that'll be fun.
I want to thank you so much for not only for me getting to work with you, but for the work that you're doing. The planet and people desperately, desperately need you. And you are such a light to help folks with this. So thank you so much for doing that. Anything else that you want to mention?
I just have I just don't want anybody to suffer. It's such a passion of mine. I see the ripple effect going out into the world. If I can help one person and then they help people in their families, they become role models to their children. They have better relationships with their spouse and their family members. And you really can find true joy again. Alcohol just robbed my joy, stole my confidence, and I know what it's like. I just want you to know that I can help. I would love to be that light, as that beacon, that to shine, because this is very important, and I can help you stop all that cognitive dissonance that might be in your brain, or that it's taking up so much space Alcohol can take up so much space in your brain, and you can get to where it's just small and irrelevant. And I'm excited to meet you and hear from you.
Yeah. So I just love the way you have this approachableness and this it really can be done kind of thing. I know I have such an issue. I'm diabetic, so I have more of an issue with sugar. And I know how hard it's like a daily thing. So it's different than alcohol, but it's also kind of similar.
Yeah. They're both kind of addictive. Yeah.
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 So I'm so glad you're around to help everybody with this. And we'll make sure and share all the links in the show notes so you guys can jump in with Ruby. And thanks so much for being my client. I love working with you. We have such a good time. So thank you.
Like mutual love. Yeah, I love working with you. And thank you so much, Julie. Yeah.
Thanks for being on the show. And we will catch you guys on the next episode. Take care. Have a great week. Bye, Ruby.
Bye-bye.
So I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I liked making it. I hope it's helpful if you have any friends or family that you can help. And if you want to talk more about how you could have the same sort of setup with me, please message me. Just hit reply to any of the emails that I send out. They go directly to me and I read them, or you can catch me on Facebook or Instagram messaging. So either way, like, let's talk about where you're at and how we could potentially work together on your launch and your messaging and pulling all this together. So thanks for being here. Have an incredible week, and we will catch you on the next episode. Take care.